Hello, this is Demon Phoenix, continuing my Deathmarch No Armour playthrough, and we are just at the point where I've decided that I'm going to be going through all of the main quest missions, because now I have a new goal, as after I've finished this No Armour playthrough, which seems eminently doable based on everything that's happened so far and the tactics I've been able to use. I want to have a save where I'm at as low a level as possible for starting New Game Plus. Now normally I recommend starting as high a level as possible, but Piercing Cold loses effectiveness the further you get into the game. So I've had the idea that if you start New Game Plus at as low level as possible, then Piercing Cold should remain effective for longer. So say if you're starting at level 30, if Piercing Cold starts to lose effectiveness in sort of like the sort of 60 levels, so 60, 65 roughly. So if you could start at New Game Plus at like level 30-ish, and already have Piercing Cold, then you can make use of Add Sweep and Piercing Cold for longer, which would be cool. So that's the plan currently. Now I've just come here, and I was following the little map because I'm just going to pick up the Steel Sword and Silver Swords diagrams for the Woven Swords. We've decided to use the Woven Swords instead of the Feline Swords because it has very slightly better bonuses, or more varied bonuses. So whereas the Feline Swords have a really high bleeding chance, which is excellent, the other swords have instead, the Woven Swords, as you can see here, have instead a different set of bonuses, which are really good fun. So in this playthrough I'm not as fussed about the critical hit bonuses, so I'm just using slightly different things there. And that's what I'm going to be doing instead. So let me just have a quick look. Now I'm using the Woven decoction currently, so the Werewolf decoction currently, beg your pardon. So instead I'm just going to meditate, get my regular potions back on, and then go with that. So because it's after 6 PM, the Superior Tornial potion will last all evening until it gets to 6 AM or I next meditate. So I've been using the standard combination for this playthrough, which is the Echidna decoction, Ancient Lesson decoction, and Aard Sweep, which has been a ton of fun. So, okay, so you can see there right away we get a bleeding chance from the Woven Swords, and they're also giving us a bonus to other things like adrenaline and everything else. So just using the Aard Sweep to stun the enemies, and each time we do that, it also gives us an increase to our stamina regeneration. So I can use it more and more often as things go by, as time goes by. And also it's getting instant knockdowns against the enemies sometimes as well, which is also useful. So you can just use it more and more often the longer the fight goes, and it's very useful. So we've got bleeding on it there, and another instant knockdown. Took care of those wolves nice and easy. So I'm just going to grab these diagrams for the Superior Woven Steel Sword and Silver Sword, so that, yes Geralt, it does indeed look like rain, just so I can go through and have them ready to upgrade, because you get an enormous amount of experience. So I was level 19 when I started the last episode doing the first lot of Kaer Morhen parts of the game, and now you can see I'm level 23 purely from doing the story-based parts of Kaer Morhen, which aren't even difficult. So spend like 38 hours getting to level 19, and then after that I was going to get rid of the magic lamp. That's what I was going to do. And then 2 hours to get to, you know, a much higher level after that. So very strange. But that's just sort of the way that the level up works in this. So that's fine. What else do I want? I did have the Hornwall Horn. Where's that gone? There it is. Seems how we're back in Skellige, and we'll actually be probably facing some sirens at some point. We'll get that. Okay, so against these things you really want to do keep Gwent up, because they do hit pretty darn hard, so you need to be careful with that. If we're not using one of the other things that's very effective with the Ancient Lesson decoction is Axii, which is actually even more effective than Aard Sweep. So it makes even more of a difference every time you use it, and increases your stamina regeneration even further. So you can see that we've got a few things on the woven sword that help our damage over time as well. So I'd put a he's losing a ton of health there because he's bleeding and poisoning, so both of those can be effective together, which is why I put a greater Morana runestone in the... Oh, do I not get any pickup from him? That's a bit of a shame. Put a greater Morana runestone in the woven swords as well, because of how powerful poisoning and bleeding are, particularly when you inflict them both together. They're really good. Now this bit here, if I remember correctly, you have a bunch of wraiths to fight, and I'm pretty sure I do remember correctly, so let's get that superior spectre oil on there. This playthrough I have got a few very powerful techniques, namely Ard Sweep and the Ancient Lesson Decoction. That just means that instead of dodging around infinitely waiting for stamina to regen and stuff, I have a good method of increasing my stamina regeneration. Let's get that sorted. I have a good method of increasing my stamina regeneration without having Griffin School techniques, because that only works with medium armor. So, you know, it's important that we get that sorted. Okay, so there's the superior woven. I'm sure there are normally raids in here, but maybe they come after, I'm not sure. So just keep all of that cleared. Depending on when you come here in the story, you can get like a ridiculous amount of wild hunt, hounds of the wild hunt turning up, which one time I did find extremely difficult because they just kept coming. They were, well, not extremely difficult, but difficult for Witcher 3. As amazing as the game is, it's not particularly difficult, really. As proved by this playthrough, really. But yeah, there was one time where I came up here and there were like 30 or 40 Hounds of the Wild Hunt, which was pretty tricky because they do deal decent damage. So Deer getting a bit of revenge on the wolves there, stomping all over their carcass. So okay, so now I need to be going a long way, so I'm going to find my next fast travel marker. If you are watching this back on YouTube, then, you know, please like, comment, sub, all that good happy stuff. If you're watching on Twitch, then, you know, say hi. Please feel free to subscribe to me on Twitch if you want to follow any other playthrough in real time, which is Demon Phoenix 237. So just a quick thing that we have been doing after just having a quick look is just going over the build. Been keeping it fairly basic just to keep a little bit of the challenge, but like I say, I do have some of my favourite and very useful techniques as well. So we've got muscle memory, strength training and arrow deflection. That's very useful because whilst I normally think it's a waste of a slot, when you have no armour, the archers can be quite irritating and do a lot of damage. So got arrow deflection for that. Undying, so that if you have adrenaline you won't die, and then razor focus, so that as soon as you enter battle you have an adrenaline point, so those two work extremely well together. And then we've got acquired tolerance, so the alchemy skills are so powerful that they can make the game very easy even without armor and things like that. So here we just have acquired tolerance, so that I have a lot of toxicity. It's probably the best skill in the game. That and maybe protective coating are two of my absolute favorites. So I have a lot of toxicity and I can use a couple of decoctions, and then we don't have any of the normal powerful stuff like Cat School techniques or Griffin School techniques because we're not using any armor. I could use Cat School techniques with the light armor in inverted commas, but I'm treating it like a no armor playthrough, so the actual gear I'm wearing makes no difference whatsoever to how much damage I take, so avoiding using Cat School techniques effectively keeps it as a full no armor playthrough. We've got Ard Sweep and the Ancient Lesson Decoction, and to get down to the second row of sign abilities, got Exploding Shield and Delusion for a little bit of utility. So, and also having points in signs gives you a bit of stamina regeneration bonus as well, so that's useful. So we've got the fast travel there, just ignoring these quests for now because they're just irritating side quests, and like I say, my goal at the moment is now to, my goal now is to get the story quest done with as low a level as possible, so that's interesting. Okay, so we're just going to carry on and fast travel to this place here, and then go and grab the diagram for the other sword. I think we got the steel sword diagram, so we're going to get the superior woven silver sword diagram, because like I say, you get such a massive amount of points from the Isle of Myths and all of the Kaer Morhen bits that you pretty much spend most of the game getting to like the first 2/3 of the game sort of thing, getting to, or at least half the game, getting to a higher level, like going from level 1 to 19, and then you do all the Kaer Morhen bits and you just end up with like this absurd amount of experience points, and you go from like level 19 to level 20 by the level 30 by the end of the game, purely from doing like the last third of the game. So it's odd in that respect. Bunch more wolves over there. Don't want to fight those if I don't have to, so I'm just going to grab Roach and ride past them. Not even from the avoiding experience point of view, but just there's no point fighting them. Like the white wolves are like, they're a bit more worth fighting than the regular wolves, because as well as the dog tallow or the wolf liver or other stuff like that you probably have hundreds of by now, you can actually get white wolf hides from the white wolves, which you can sell for a decent amount and is actually pretty useful. So what have we got here? We've got a barrow, so there should be some way into the barrow, and there'll be some wraiths in all likelihood. There are always raids. And then we can find the there you go, silver sword, woven silver sword diagrams. Okay, so there were no wraiths, so that's fine. That saved us a bit of time. Very useful. And now I just need to continue with the quests. So I do kind of hate having failed quests. So first of all, I'm just going to get these sorted so that our Brothers in Arms doesn't fail. I probably will end up failing some quests, because if I'm just doing these main ones, then there will be ones like, there will be Reason of State, that if I don't do Reason of State, that gets you a fairly decent chunk of experience. So if I'm avoiding doing that, then by the time I go to do final preparations, you know, I will have lost all my stuff there. So anyway, let's go and speak to Ermion first. Now that's actually a much longer ride than I anticipated, so are there any fast travel markers here that I could use? Nope, it's abandoned site. Damn it! I'll just avoid these for now. Don't want to be fighting these guys again. For the same reasons. You get a decent chunk of experience from abandoned sites. You always want to... and you get the same amount of experience, more or less, regardless of whether you are at a high level or not. So you get like a fixed amount of experience from monster nests and abandoned sites. So you want to save, if you want to get the absolute max levels possible in the game without any grinding and stuff, it's a good idea to leave those all for later. So yeah. Okay. So we're just going to ride all the way over here. Actually still a pretty long ride, so if I come across a fast travel marker I may well fast travel instead. Got to go all the way here. That's a pretty damn long way actually, so I'll just make my way to Fairland and then be able to go from there. And Dragers do give you some relatively useful stuff, but in the interest of keeping it as streamlined as possible, I'm just going to be making a mad break for the end of the game now. This is where I did the Ancient Lesson quest very early. And the reason I've done that is, can you loot something around there? Fours we shore arcs. Yeah. This is one of the quests that I did early, and I did it early intentionally. I did it when the Ancient Lesson was a Red Skull monster and about 10 levels higher than me. And that was purely because I really wanted the Ancient Lesson decoction. That's been a big part of this playthrough. Just really fun to use with the Ard Sweep. Good tactic, not massively overpowered because we don't have very high sign intensity, because we don't have the Griffin armour, and I haven't been using the Griffin swords. I've been favouring the feline swords instead. But what that means is that it can increase my stamina regeneration, so the fights, whilst it does make them easier, yes, it also makes them a lot shorter, which in the interest of, you know, keeping a playthrough manageable length, and not just dodging around like a madman the whole time, it's very useful. So, just going to go and find Ermion now, wherever he is. Shut up, you. Don't need that Iorveth card, which is all you really get from that. Don't need the experience from it either. Or maybe Ermion is underneath the cave. So, let's go back over this way. Right. And where's Ermion? Seriously, where is he? Must be about somewhere. Shut up. Irritating pain in the backside. Where's Ermion? Seriously, where is he? Where are you, Ermion? Okay, this is confusing me now. Below. Yeah, it is below. So where is he below then? Hermione, where are you? This is really weird. Ah! I never have problems finding him usually. Anyway, so I find Hermione, speak to him, speak to Ceres, and then she says she's too busy ruling and stuff. Which, you know, makes sense and things. Seriously, where is Hermione? This is so bizarre. So there's the druid. Hermione. Oh, there he is. There were 2 entrances, 2 caves. Did not realise that. How silly of me. Anyway, there's Hermione. Talk to him. All sorted. Good, good, good. Yeah. Right. So we're just going to skip through all that stuff, ignore his concerns about Ceres or whatever else, because he, you know, we've been at odds with Hermione before, but he has Ciri's best interest at heart, really. So, now we just want to find the fast travel marker, which is back over this way, isn't it? I think. That is a funny little side quest, to be honest. And if you come to Skellige early, you can do it really early, so you get the Eorveth card, which is a useful 10 strength hero card if you are using the Scoia'tael deck, which I have done, because that is a good deck if you want to, you know, use tactics and play one of the more underpowered decks. So that and the monster deck, I would say, are the weaker of the decks, but they still can be very good if optimized properly. If you want to use slightly different tactics, I find the monster deck a little boring because it doesn't have medics or spies. It's just all pretty much muster and a couple of useful hero cards, and unless you come to Skellige early and specifically go and get all those cards, it's a lot less useful than, you know, some of the others, but never mind. One quick tip that I did remind myself of in this playthrough is if you go to Skellige early, you can watch my video on that. It's very easy to get to Skellige at like level 14 or 15 if you just shoot the skip the fight with the bandits, and then at the very, very start of Envoys and Wine Boys, you can choose to skip the fight with the bandits and then go to Goliath. Fight Goliath and shoot him with the crossbow. It's actually very easy to win, to get to Toussaint early, so you know it's good because when you get to Toussaint early, there's a bunch of useful stuff you can do, and one of those very useful things that you can do is to let me just find out where I'm going here. I always get lost in this castle. One of the things that you can do is to make sure that... Let me just find Ceres. Hold on. Uh-oh. They're going to have a go at me if you're stealing a freaking book. Are you having a laugh? Oh, my days. You serious? You serious? This is going to be irritating. Any last words? You serious, girl? Oh, this is going to be bad. Okay, so really didn't need that book. Let's just have a quick little reload there. Not worth it. Anyway, what we're saying is, got distracted by that. Anyway, yeah. So what you're doing is, if you're doing these quests and you go to Toussaint early, that was it. Then the innkeep at the Cockatrice Inn actually has a ton of the monster cards that you normally buy from all different places in Skellige. So you can go to the Cockatrice Inn and buy like 8 or 9 monster cards, including 2 of the vampires, and so that will make that will save you having to trip around all the different innkeeps buying some of those cards, especially the 2 vampires. They're extremely useful. So if you want to use different Gwent decks, you can just hold off playing most of the Gwent matches until you have the desired cards that you want. So whereas normally you can get a very, very good Northern Realms deck early on, that's very easy to do because you start off with a decent deck and then you can get a lot of the cards in Velen. You can watch my early deck building video on YouTube for that. You can, if you prefer, try and get some random wins. The random wins are completely random, the cards that you win from random Gwent players. So if you wanted, you could save, and this is what I'm planning to do on a future playthrough. Save, and then the first 3 random players that you play, just repeatedly reload if you have the patience. Reload and redo those a ton of times until you get the... what's the word? Until you get the... Hold on. Just trying to sort this out. Oh, I've gone the wrong way again. Yeah, so you can reload until you get the random win, as being the first 3 random wins being the 3 Nilfgaardian spies if you want to use the Nilfgaardian deck, because the vast majority of the Nilfgaardian cards are bought from people in Velen, or are won from specific quests very early in Velen, like specific Gwent quests. So that's very useful as well. So you could get a Nilfgaardian deck very, very early as well, and that's what I'm going to plan on doing. In one playthrough as well, because I love the Nilfgaardian deck. I've done a Scoia'tael playthrough already, and the Scoia'tael deck was again extremely good fun, really. And just loot this stuff because there's no guards about. The Scoia'tael deck was a lot of fun. It can be relatively. It can be pretty strong. Like, I lost a couple of games, but not really many. Even though it is like a fairly underpowered deck compared to Northern Realms with its tight bond cards and spies, and Nilfgaard with all of that as well. So I feel like they should have made the Northern Realms have like less spies and the Scoia'tael deck have some spies, and then they would have been like both being pretty good, instead of Northern Realms being insanely good, you know. So that's interesting. So where are we going for crack then? So there's those 2 rooms. That's all that sorted. No rooms here. So crack's not about here. So we'll just have to try and find his room. Anyway, so for a Scoia'tael deck playthrough, you pretty much go to Novigrad straight away and just hold off playing anybody until you've really done that. And then try and get Trish's Matter of Life or Death quest done as soon as possible to get the Milva card, because that's an amazing card. And again, you need a couple of random wins to be, really be top notch with that. So again, you either have to reset quite a few times, depending on how lucky you get against random players, because one of the Habakar smugglers, one of the Habakar healers, which are the muster cards and the medic cards respectively, are random wins, so you'd have to get a couple of those, and you can do pretty well once you've got those. So again, it's a couple of random wins, and then a couple of buying things from Novigrad, and a couple of doing all the Novigrad quests as well. So you want to do Matter of Life and Death and a Dangerous Game as soon as possible, so that you can get the Milva and the Isengar and Voltana cards respectively, which is a massive boon to that deck, because those are both for superb cards and they make the deck quite a lot stronger. If you're going to do a Scoia'tael deck playthrough, that's what you want to watch out for, in my opinion anyway. That's what I did, and getting Milva and Isengar and then those couple of random win ones is really important and a ton of fun for Scoia'tael. And then for the monster deck, you normally get a lot of the good monster cards later on in the game, because you naturally come to Skellige later. But if you were planning on doing a full monster deck playthrough, then instead you would be better off doing things quite differently and coming to Skellige early, which again you can watch my going to Skellige early video, and then you could come here early and buy all the cards from there. So, oh, did I mistime that? Oh yeah, okay, that's fine. Right, so now we want to get a boat, and we want to go and find the Isle of Mists, but depending on how far we're actually going, I don't want to get a boat here. So even though I've just jumped down, I'll probably fast travel to be somewhere closer before we get a boat, because you end up going over this sort of way, I think. So I might fast travel to here or here, and then go to the Isle of Mists, which is like round this sort of way. I think this one will be alright. So yeah, I'll go to a fast travel marker first. That'll let me go to the what's it called? That'll let me go to the stash as well, and dump a bunch of stuff, sell a few things, and clear up some inventory space. Not that we're really going to pack on a ton of inventory space in this quest, but like to keep things as empty as possible. Even though, to be perfectly honest, I'm not using the Aracast decoction. The Aracast decoction, again, extremely powerful, probably my favourite decoction overall. Not really sure who found how useful the Aracast decoction was, because I only started playing this game a long time afterwards. Although obviously Apex of War made fantastic use of it in his build, and then I made even better use of it in my build. That's my opinion anyway. I actually think that's objectively true if anybody ever wants to discuss the builds and stuff like that. I can give you actually quite a few reasons why my build is the best build in the game, the world rend tank build. And actually, the Viper build is probably the best hybrid build in the game as well, so depending on your views on such things, but yeah. Right, so just going to get rid of this garbage. That's got exactly 0. Cleared up a bit of inventory weight there. Nothing else that I really need at the minute. I'm just going to stash a couple of those swords. I've already played this guy at Gwent, but I just feel like playing again at BM at Gwent because I love it. So let's have a look. What have we got? We've got a spy, 2 decoys. He's playing monster, so we don't really need another decoy. And we have a medic, so even if they played back their decoy, I would be alright. Oh, damn, I should have kept that decoy. Because I had Villain Tretameth. Oh, well, never mind. See what we get from this. And I got a decoy anyway, so... Well, that was easy. They do really dumb stuff like that sometimes. So that was very, very easy. Okay, so let's play this one. And Villain Tretameth is extremely useful in this, so... Now they've only got 5 cards left. I wasn't paying attention there, but one of the vampires must have drawn something else in, so... Going to use a decoy there, because it uses a turn. I'm going to get those again. And now I can see exactly what they've got and play accordingly. Right, so their score for this round is going to end up at 62. So I think I can beat 62 pretty comfortably. Especially because I'm going to take another 10 off with the this again. So they're going to end up in fact with 52. And I can beat that relatively easily, I think. That'll be 27 from those. I'll medic the 10 back as well, and then 22. Yeah, I should win this. I mean, there's no real need because I'll win anyway. Okay, that's why I played the 10-point card instead of the Geralt card in the first round, because I knew that with all the medics that Nilfgaard have, and me already having a medic in my hand, I could pull that back and use the medic card. So that's what is so amazing about the Nilfgaard deck as well. Like, you get so many medics that really each one of those medics is not a 0 or a 1-point card like they seem to be. It's actually more like using a 10-point card again in a later round, or using the tight bond cards. So if you get 3 of the Imperial Brigade, it's not really like getting 3 of them, because if you have a couple of medics and a couple of decoys, it's like getting 3 of them in one round for 27 points, and then 3 of them in another round for 27 points, and any combination of having Dandelion and Commander's Horns and things like that. So love the Nilfgaard deck. If you're good tactically and you understand Gwent, it's a really great deck, so ton of fun to use. A lot of people prefer Northern Realms, but you know, that's if you sort of, if you don't mind a slightly boring sort of deck, then yeah, go for it. But I just find that you use the Northern Realms for the whole game and you get it like straight away, and it is a fantastic deck, but it's also pretty straightforward, and depending on how you have it set up, it can be susceptible to either weather or scorch, because it's all about tight bond. So the AI on the game is not really good enough to take that kind of stuff into account, though. For Gwent, there's only a couple of people who have extremely strong decks who would cause you any problems, so yeah, it's not really necessary. I could have either hopped in a boat and then fast travelled to one of the anchor points, or I can fast travel here and then hop in the boat when I get to this point. So that's what I'm going to do this playthrough. I want to get as close to the Isle of Mist as possible, because as anyone who's played this game can tell you, the boats are extremely irritating and you want to spend as little time as possible in them. Now, normally I'm extremely completionist, so I like to finish everything, all the side quests, try and get as high a level as possible. But with this No Armour playthrough, I don't need the armours and things like that, so I've just been concentrating on getting my swords and then using these few basic tactics to keep a little bit of a semblance of a challenge. And then... oh, what's this? Nothing. And what I'll be doing instead is trying to now finish it at as low a level as possible, so I can have that save where I do a Piercing Cold New Game Plus playthrough. Wow, why is it showing me 2,000 steps away? Meters or whatever. Oh no, it just is that far. Right, so there's a harbour here, so I'll just fast travel there instead. Could have done that from Kaer Morhen and saved myself a loading screen, but never mind. See how long this is going to take. And then I'll be able to make my way to the Isle of Mist. So at least this is about as close as you could probably get, I would think. So I'm just gonna speed this up. I do wish there was like a spell, or you know, they could have incorporated something into the game that made you had like, you know, a spell or an item or a djinn or something like that that could summon wind, you know, so that you... Because I know they couldn't have speedboats and stuff because obviously it's not that kind of game world, but I wish that they had built something in that explained why you could have boats go a ton faster than this, because the boats are just so boring, honestly. They move at, you know, a okay speed, but as anybody who has farmed the Skellige locations could tell you, this is like a real pain in the neck, so... Anyway, we spoke to Krach. This is probably going to fail one or two quests, but I'm not overly bothered. It'll give me the option to make a manual save, so I'll make that manual save first. And then we'll carry on with the Isle of Mists. Still nighttime now, so... should have the superior Tornial there. Just going to make sure the toxicity from that dies off and I'm not taking any damage, which I'm not doing. I'm just going to wait for that to go down because I don't want the toxicity to be bugged or anything like that. Not that it would do, but you know, you always got to avoid these kind of things. So after you go into this particular part of the game, you can see that light green toxicity there. I'm just waiting for that to die off so that it can be fully dark green toxicity again, which is your decoction toxicity. If anybody wants to see the difference between those, you can go here. You can see that toxicity offset is your decoction toxicity and toxicity level is your potion toxicity, and it's only if you have toxicity level that it actually affects your taking damage. So we're going to travel to the Isle of Mist, skip through this thing, and then we go. Yeah, so what I was just saying there about decoction toxicity and toxicity offset. Toxicity offset is your potion toxicity. And I did a couple of videos about this. You can watch my 5 decoctions and toxicity and mechanics video, and it explains the difference about what actually causes you to take damage from toxicity. If you only use decoctions, no potions at all, then you will never take any damage from toxicity, which not a lot of people realise. Decoction toxicity is totally different. If you have decoction toxicity combined with potion toxicity, or if you have no, don't do that. Or if you have potion toxicity just, you know, by itself, but the total of either the potion toxicity or the combined decoction and potion toxicity is over 70%, then you will take damage from the potion toxicity until your total toxicity goes below 70%. It's a little complicated, but once you get your head around it, it does make a lot of sense. So, say if you had 3 decoctions and your total toxicity was 74%, you wouldn't take any damage, even though it's over that 70% threshold. If you then used a potion, you would start taking damage because of the potion toxicity. So that would put you at, like, say, 82% or whatever. Quick tip there, you can fire the crossbow whilst driving the boat, so you don't have to stop to kill the sirens or the echidnas. You can just shoot them in the face like that. Anyway, so as I was saying, say you had 3 decoctions, 74% toxicity, you would not take any damage at all. If you then use the potion on top of it to put you at like 80-something% toxicity without heightened tolerance skill, you would then be over the 70% threshold, so you would continuously take potion damage. Even when the toxicity from that potion ran out, oh dear, these things are going to hurt. even when you took the damage from... Even when the potion toxicity wore out, because you were still over 70% total, now from the decoctions, and you were already taking that potion damage, then the potion damage would still hurt you continuously. Like I say, it seems like a tricky mechanic, but once you get the basics of it, it does make sense. The very easiest, basic way of understanding it is that you'll never take any damage from decoction toxicity unless you combine it with potion toxicity in certain scenarios. So that's one way of at least remembering the sort of basics. If you want to watch my video about it, that'll explain it all in full. And, it's a very useful video in my opinion as well. Now there's a ton of good stuff to pick up around here. A lot of orins and florins, a lot of valuable things, rune stones and stuff like that. So do try and loot around here if you can. There's a couple of enemies to contend with, but nothing major. Just going to grab that one. Isn't that the chest I already grabbed? I hate when it does this. Sometimes it'll make a chest glow yellow even though you've already got it. That could be the case with this one, or maybe I just didn't see that one before. But I'm curious now, so I'm going to go and check. I don't think I did get this one, actually. Right. Yeah, so quite a few useful things there. Dusts and things like that you can sell. So do make sure that you explore the Isle of Mist if you're a bit short on cash, or if you do need the resources or anything like that, or if you're just a bit of a completionist like me. Alright. Is this another one over here, or is this a chest I've already got? Yeah, I missed this one. So, like I say, ton of chests around here, so that's at least 4 or 5, and most of them having really good stuff, or at least some rune stones and things that you can either use or sell. So... So these are the Tangalores. These are like a higher version of the Foglets. So they do pretty good damage. You need to be careful with them. And I'm just going to keep my coin up for this one because I've taken a fair amount of damage there as well. You can use the Warthog decoction to get a 50% attack boost when you are... at full health, and usually that's an extremely good decoction and one that I do use, but in this playthrough I'm not being that careful about keeping coin up and things, and in order for the combat and the flow of the playthrough to go a little bit quicker, I'm just using a sort of offensive style with the greater red mutagens and damage boosting skills. And even though it's no armor, I'm not really focused on keeping coin up since I've had the Ard Sweep and Ancient Lesson decoction, so sort of giving you an offensive alternative to how you would do that. And that's quite interesting. Right, so going to go through all this stuff. Shut up, ba ba ba. These guys are kind of funny, but like, yeah, never mind. Do 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 do. Right, let me have a look. Let's just have a look at this. Go through this, skipping through. Yeah. Right, so we're just going to get that. Unfortunately, you can't get them to open up without doing this irritating fetch and, what's the word? Run and fetch type quest, so yeah, we'll sort that out. Let's go. Right, so we're going to try and find these 3 people. I'm going to get the most irritating ones out of the way first. Which is the quickest to get to? They're all about the same. I think this is the lighthouse one. I really hate that nonsense, but, what can you do? Oy, never mind. Right, so we're going to... What we've got to fight here, I will have hybrids first, I believe. So we've got to take out all these guys first. The harpies, there's a bunch of good ways of taking them down. You can use the crossbow like that, get some good hits in. And once you get them grounded, they're pretty easy to deal with. And then you can ground them with Ard Sweep as well, which with this build is very useful because then your stamina regeneration is higher, so you can carry on knocking the other ones down. And then another very useful thing is to use Axii, which actually will let you get an instant kill even more often than Ard will a lot of the time. So you can take those down pretty easily. So any combination of Ard and Axii is very useful. if I can get this one at a sort of place where I can get an instant kill, then you can see that you can get the stuns on them and be able to take them down like that. So I can still hear one, but I'm not sure where it is. But anyway, that's that. That's a good way of sorting those ones. You don't get anything particularly useful from them, but you need to kill them or avoid them either now or on the way back. And most of the time you will end up killing them, so you might as well just do it now anyway. So that's the harpies dealt with. This guy's very clumsy, and he's going to come to an unfortunately squishy sort of end, but not much we can do with that. Okay, so the other enemies that we're going to be fighting here are necrophages. And then there's a fiend to fight a little bit later on. I think that's all the harpies done, so usefully that means that I don't have to worry about those things as much. Right, so again, losing quite a little bit of health there. And the sort of blinding effect they do stops you from using signs or potions effectively. So just going to get Superior Swallow going there as well. Just to recover the damage, because as you can see, with me having no armor, they do a fair amount of damage, and I do have an enemy upscaling on as well. So I'm just going to take these things out, and the Swallow will recover my health there. A lot of the other enemies that you encounter in this bit of the quest are necrophages. I've just got the Warthog mutation there. Not sure if I had that one already, actually. I think I probably did, but I haven't really been paying attention. Let's have a look. But the Warthog decoction is excellent if you do choose to. Seeking out a sort of level 20 or more hag and beating it early whilst they are a Red Skull enemy. They are still pretty easy, well, not easy, but possible to beat one-on-one, even on Deathmatch, and would even be, if I'd have needed to, on... you know, this No Armour playthrough, I've been able to beat a lot of very strong enemies like the Leshen with its wolves and things like that. But because I don't want to have to focus on keeping Gwent up because it makes combat take a lot longer, I haven't been bothering with that on this particular playthrough. So if you wanted to beat one, you could do. But like, not too fussed at the minute, so I haven't focused on getting that Warthog mutagen as early as I would in a normal playthrough. If you watch my Deathmarch guide, I did a full Deathmarch walkthrough, then you would have seen the tactics that I used to beat the one that's in Crookback Bog. So you can actually beat one of those and get the Warthog mutagen very early if you're playing a sort of tankier build or a build that focuses on keeping Gwent up, using something like Griffin School techniques or with medium armor or light armor itself. Which is an excellent strategy and a very good way of boosting damage early in the game if you can beat one of those things. So yeah, usually it is totally worth it, but I haven't been focusing on it this playthrough, and I don't want to focus on keeping Gwent up and avoiding damage entirely, so I'm not that bothered this time. So again, ton of really useful runestones here. Now we just have to go and find the others, so... Got to get Gaspard at the lighthouse. This is the really irritating one where you have to keep waking him up. It's quite a funny little bit of, you know, insomniac dwarf or whatever, but it is also kind of annoying. So there are a bunch of the sort of higher level foglets, whatever weird name they have. I always forget what they're actually called, but... Oh, no, no, no! Oh, god damn it. Right, so I'm going to have to try and climb back up here if I can. Nicely textured rock there. PC Master Race can get stuffed. Right, okay, so... Gonna grab all this stuff. Nope, don't need my sword out, just need to loot these, thank you. Couple of pearls. Pearls are very useful, because you can always either sell them for good profit, or you can dismantle them into powdered pearl, which is necessary for making glyphs from scratch. It's a lot cheaper to make the glyphs from scratch, especially if you plan on making multiples of the same glyphs, than it is for buying them, so that's useful. Couple of uses of Gwent with the Echidna decoction. We'll get my health back up. That's another fantastic thing about the Echidna decoction. You can get that very, very early as well. And yeah, let's get this narcoleptic dude back. Oh, he's not insomniac, he's narcoleptic. This is the complete opposite of what I said. Yeah, insomniac is you can't sleep. Narcoleptic is that you fall asleep all the time. So he's narcoleptic. So yeah. Got to get these guys done first. Get a couple of hits in on them. If you can keep them both within the range of hard sweep, then you can get some good hits in. And again, they all take a lot of damage, largely because of the greater red mutagens and the damage boosting skills I've got. You can boost your damage even further. You can boost them even further, the damage, by having stuff like precise blows and crushing blows as well, which increase the critical hit chance by 10% for your fast and strong attacks respectively, and your critical hit damage by 75%. So if you have a critical hit focused build, those can be extremely powerful techniques. I use those both in my most powerful build, which is again the OP World Reign tank build. Sometimes call it the Uber build. And that's really useful. So yeah, quite a few foglets and stuff to fight here. I could use the Immundos bombs as well, but they're not really causing me that many issues at the minute, so I'll take this one out, no problem. Okay, so that's one down. And I'll just take this guy out as well. I had the 5% chance to stun on both of my Woven Swords as well. So I've gone for a very varied approach with the Woven Swords at the minute. I think at the minute I've got 5%. They've got their inherent 6% adrenaline gain, sign gain, and bleeding chance, which is extremely useful in this kind of playthrough, where damage over time is going to make a big difference. Where am I going? Oh yeah, we need to go this way, I think. Which is the quickest way back? Yeah, this is probably the quickest way back. I think Gaspard just follows you back. I've killed these guys already, so where's the path up? He can't jump, so I have to find the actual path. Who the heck left money in a tree on this random abandoned island? Seriously. Where's the path? Bit of irony, the Witcher not being able to find a path. But yeah, what was I saying? I've lost my train of thought. Never mind, maybe it'll come back to me, but... Have these hybrids respawned? Hopefully not. Yeah, so I mean, if you've got the World Ren tank build, that's the most powerful build in the game, that's what I was saying. And then the Viper build is extremely similar to it, depending on how you set it up. But it's like a more balanced hybrid version. So you trade off medium gear with the Griffin Skull techniques for using levity on the World Ren tank build to have light armor instead. So everything's treated as light armor, and that allows you to have quicker stamina regeneration and also get the bonus from Cat Skull techniques, which adds 20% fast attack damage, which is alright, but an enormous 100% critical hit damage. And again, that stacks with crushing blows and precise blows, and also you can have killing spree or battle frenzy, depending on if you're fighting groups or a solo enemy, and have a much higher critical hit ratio as well. So with killing spree, you'll crit if you kill one enemy in a group, you'll crit nearly every single time, and if you kill two enemies in a group, you will actually crit every single time for the rest of the battle and get all those critical hit damage bonuses. So if you need a powerful build, go and get that one. I highly recommend that if you want to make deathmatch easier, and it just does make the game an actual cakewalk. So that's worth doing. Now I think there's a couple more money in Random Tree on a completely deserted island. How does it get there? We'll never know. Got 3 minutes here, which should be enough to kill these foglets, find this guy, and then kill the fiend as well. So again, if you're fighting something one-on-one, axe is extremely useful. And if you're not fighting things one-on-one, then you can use hard sweep to buy yourself that bit of time. So that's what I'll be doing here. So I've got Gwent up first. Let my stamina regenerate because I'm not technically in combat there. And then just kill this fiend. So I'll set it bleeding first with the broadhead bolt. Might as well use some bombs up on it as well. Whoa, missed. Never mind. it's not even getting thingy. Not even getting what's the word? Frozen there by the Northern Wind bomb spell. Now this thing has a fair amount of health, so let's get some reinforcements going. So what else can we use? We've got the poisoning and dancing star bombs, which would be very useful. And we'll get some relic oil. So before we were doing about 800 a hit, and there you can see it's up to 1,000. So oil does make a significant damage increase there, and also, you know, adds to the tactics that we're using. So very useful. So see if we can get this thing burning, especially when it's stopped still there, and then we can stun it in that poison cloud as well. So it takes a ton of damage there. Keep it stunned whilst all of that damage over time is building up, and then it'll go down pretty easily from there. Okay, so killed that thing. Again, some of the very useful tactics we can use there. And got a was that a red mutagen we just got there? No, it's not showing up, but yeah, we got a red mutagen there as well, I think, which again, very useful. Normally red mutagens are extremely precious, but because I've been to Toussaint early, I had a method for getting mutations early, which was one of the challenges I wanted to try, so I was able to do that. And because I was in Toussaint, I got a greater red mutagen from killing Goliath, which is the giant who guards the sort of entryway to Toussaint. But again, you can beat him low levels if you want to check out my getting to Toussaint early video. And then if you watch my videos about getting mutations early, I did 2 videos on that. One in a normal playthrough, and then one using the skill Deadly Precision in another playthrough. So that was pretty useful as well. Okay, so we've got all this stuff. Uh-oh.
Step aside. She's cool.
And these pain in the arse dwarves leave you where they are, cowards. But yeah, this is a heart-wrenching scene if you don't... I mean, you kind of...
A witcher can forget to eat.
Anyway, oh no, I just skipped the best cutscene. Oh, well, never mind. So anyway, you got all this stuff where you catch up with Ciri and all that stuff, which is all cool. Right, okay, so we've got Avalak and everything else there as well, sorted. So we've got all this kind of stuff. Get all that. I'm just going to skip through here, so if you can hear me mashing the button, that's what the little clicking is. Get through all this stuff. This all is really interesting dialogue if you're doing it the first time. I love all of this bit, it's really well done. But for now, just going to skip through stuff, so... Let's have a look. Alright, so we're going to skip through all this stuff. And get through all this. No. Okay. Let's have a look. I hate portals. Right, so that's all that stuff sorted. Now this, I think we're going back to Kaer Morhen now. And we can do the second lot of this stuff, which is, you know, quite useful too. Let me have a look. Right, so just going to sort this out. All right. Let me have a look. Right, so back at Kaer Morhen, I'm going to go through these sections of the game, and it's extremely good. Let me have a look. Portals! Let me just do this and then we'll carry on. Ciri! So yeah, Ciri back in Kaer Morhen. Great stuff. These are all really good bits of the game as well. So yeah, these bits are really nice obviously. I'm going to go through all these. And Yen as well. So anyway, as good as this stuff is, we're just going to need to skip through all of it. And go through it. Right, off we go. Get through all this stuff. Again, I'm just skipping all the dialogue because I don't really care at the minute. Just want to get through things as quickly as possible. Can talk to all these people as well. I think because I was trying to avoid, you know, failed quests as much as possible, I avoided all that stuff. And to save time, I deliberately made sure I chose the options that made it like I'd killed Letho in Witcher 2. So no argument between Bess Roach and Letho here, which is interesting dialogue, and you know, with the history and everything else, of course. But yeah. Anyway, just gonna meditate first, and then get all this stuff sorted. So. This Kira. Yeah. Why wasn't she here before then? She took a longest time to get there, but yeah, never mind. Right, so we're going to skip through all this stuff. I can't remember which options you can choose for various things, but I don't think it matters too much, so... Right, so let's go through all this stuff. Get all this stuff, damn Ritium bombs and all that. Alright, so, Ciri's most important. Yeah, behave yourself, Ciri. Shush. Right, so you can choose traps or potions. I'm not quite sure which is which. I forget what difference it makes, but... Okay, so... get all this stuff. Patch up the wall. Don't care about armory or weapons or anything else like that. Potions, there we go. I can't remember what the traps get you. They get you a bunch of stuff, but I don't really need stuff at the minute, so just going to skip through. Again, this is in the interest of being as streamlined as possible, so got about all this stuff. Skip through all that. All the preparations are ready, potions and all that stuff. Tiny bit of experience there, and then you get an absolute boatload of experience again afterwards. So got another Thunderbolt, which can be kind of useful. We're at level 25 already. Must have got a big bunch of experience somewhere along the way as well. Did I get a superior swallow on top of my other superior swallow? Surely not. No, I've already got superior swallow. What a waste. You do get another Thunderbolt, but you don't get another superior swallow. That's weird. Anyway, so we'll be using Elemental Oil for the Wild Hunt, which is extremely important. So make sure we've got all of that. Couple of runestones, things like this. Inventory's like a little way down again because I've got a couple of these, so I'll just dump these before we do anything else. I don't think that I can fast travel now as well, which is a little bit annoying because I should have got these superior woven swords before this. Ah, nice critical hit damage there. Right, so we're just going to dump all these for now. Can always sell those later. And for some reason my crossbow is unequipped again, so I'll have to equip that. Armors can be really heavy, so like that one, 9.6, so you don't want to be carrying those about if you don't need them. And obviously we don't need them in a No Armour playthrough. We've got a ton of these stones and things like that as well, so I can sell some of those when I next get to relevant armour or anything like that. And that's that. Do I need to repair my swords at all? 88%. No, not really, but... Right, so that's that sorted. Now, like I say, I don't think I can fast travel at the moment. Yeah, so we're ready to start this anyway, so let's just keep this going. See what we can do. I may well get to level 29 before we do this, where I could be using the superior woven swords, but I might just have to fight Imlerith with the enhanced ones, which is a little bit annoying, but never mind. You just get so many levels. What you can do is, if you next spot of gear, your next level of gear during these Kaer Morhen bits, you can upgrade the swords so that they are ready to use from that sort of level. So like if I'd have upgraded my swords to superior for the woven ones, I wouldn't be able to use them at the minute, but what that would mean is that I could instead let me just have a look. Damn, I didn't get the super extra. You can get like extra dimeritium bombs, which I don't appear to have. I got extra grape shot instead, which is a bit pointless. Where do you get the extra dimeritium bombs? You can get them somewhere. Anyway, I don't need these grape shot. They're terrible, so I'm just going to get rid of those. Because I already have the superior ones. Oh, maybe it's not going to let me drop them, but it doesn't really matter. Right, anyway, just going to carry on with this. We have the dimeritium one, so we have 4 chances to close the 3 portals, which is extremely useful. And lets you avoid a bunch of combat, so...
Make sure and knock me upside the head. I hate portals.
Right, that's one done. So we've got one of the portals down.
One less to worry about.
There's another one done. And you can actually avoid pretty much all the combat on this section if you just do this. With the invisibility. And if you have the superior dimeritium bombs, you'll have 4 of them, so you'll have 4 chances to... an extra chance to hit one of them. So you can avoid those and then run away. And that avoids it nicely. Okay, so... cool little cutscenes here again. These are absolutely brilliant cutscenes, actually. I'm very tempted to actually watch them, but instead I'm just going to finish off these bits. Just skip through the cutscenes and do them as quickly as possible. Right, and try and keep this episode to a sort of a manageable length. So, over an hour already. And see, you just get absolute ton of experience all the time. So it's like, it's quite funny. Right, no, she's not going inside. Come on, Besmir. Right, so this is where playing Ciri is a little more manageable, because she actually ends up being really powerful, and she has the thing from, she gets the thing from Triss where she can just like hit right bumper and like summon down fire like that, which if you actually hit them with it is really good fun. And she takes like quite low damage as well, and she just recovers it as you go in. So see there, she's just recovering all of her health and stuff like that. And then you can summon this fire down, which is weird because it's actually like it's from Triss, I think. So like, anyway, so take these things out, summon that fire down, get a bunch of damage in there, and yeah, Ciri's like super strong at this bit, so it's a lot easier. So there's all this good happy stuff. Ton easier to use Ciri on these bits, I think, especially than the bits like, you know, Novigrad and all that kind of stuff. So right, so we've got all this stuff. Damn it, just skipped another awesome cutscene. I'm too used to skipping things in this playthrough, but anyway, this is where we're going. So we're just going to try and stay away from all this fiery nonsense. Come on, Roach. You got your awesome saddle, sweetheart. So yeah, Lambert's actually, you know, pretty quick on his horse there as well. Whoa, that took a bit of damage. Never mind. As you can see, my potions have worn off, but I've got my elemental oil ready to go. That makes a big difference if you have protective coating as a skill. And like I say, probably the best skill in the game, apart from maybe acquired tolerance, in my opinion. And whirl and render really, really good as well. Those are all top 5 skills, I think. So now we need to be, you want to be killing these guys as quickly as possible. You can poison the wild hunt, and you can also, you know, bleed the hounds. And I think you can poison the hounds as well. Just keep Gwen up because this is only a quick little battle, and then you want to be making a run for this bit as soon as possible and getting up here. So get up here as quickly as possible. They can handle those guys, so make sure you get up here. And I'm just going to be using Superior Tonial there as well. You want to try and hold off using the decoctions until a little bit later. Like, obviously, normally I make use of the other things as well. Like Echidna decoction and the Ancient Lesson decoction. But you'll, like, the potions and decoctions wear off at certain points, and there is a mechanic where normally you will get you'll get those back without having to meditate. So like you go to meditate and quote unquote, you know, meditate, but sometimes it doesn't work. So like you have to be a little bit careful with that. And just a quick thing: if you can find the corpses of the wild hunt that you've killed, you can get things like that. Like if you just saw there, I got a the hounds don't drop anything amazing, but the guy that I killed, the actual wild hunt soldier, he actually dropped a extremely useful he actually dropped an extremely useful one, which was a meteorite silver plate. So if you want to farm some of these guys, you can try and kill a few more of them like that, which is useful. But for this one, I'm not particularly fussed about doing that, so right, let's get these guys sorted. Now, one of the other things that you can do, one of the potions that is quite has been underutilized because it doesn't last very long, and I am currently just more focused on using the decoctions as a rule. One of the things that you can do is, I'm just going to get a bomb going to poison these guys. One of the things that you can do is use the Superior Blizzard, which I've just picked up the Petri filter instead. I meant to get Blizzard. Now, where is Blizzard? Right, this potion. Whenever you slay an enemy, it slows time for a short period. This is really, really good. So, like, before you use the decoctions here, if you want to use some alternate tactics, you can use the Superior Blizzard instead. And you see the slowdown effect is just so powerful. Lets you wreck absolutely everything. So, you can use this potion there. And it's just phenomenally good. Phenomenally good. So, yeah. I recommend making good use of the Superior Blizzard as well until you get to the point where you can use your decoctions again. Now, another useful tactic you can use here. Again, just going to grab all this stuff. See if I can get the stuff from the corpses, like the meteorite silver and things like that. There you go. Another rune stone there. So the wild hunt actually dropped like a ton of useful stuff. So, like I say, make sure you loot them if at all possible. But another tactic you can use is to use the Superior Devil's Puffball and then use Golden Aureole. And if you have the Superior Golden Aureole, that will actually heal you as well. So you can see here, I'm going to throw the poison. And then I'm going to use the Superior Golden Aureole. And we're actually going to get healed by the poison. So you can see I'm stood in the poison cloud. And it's actually healing me because that's what the Superior Potion does. So that's really useful as well. So we're going to get that. We've got the Superior Blizzard and the Superior Golden Aureole. So we get healing from the poison. And then the slowdown effect lets us really quickly kill the wild hunt there as well. So ton of useful tactics you can use on this bit. And again, this is why when people say that the combat on this game isn't very good, I sort of question if they actually understand the mechanics properly, because you know, it can be really, really useful. So okay, so we've got that, and if we are taking a bit of damage, then you've got all your other potions available as well. So I'm just going to get the Superior Thunderbolt so I can deal more damage as well. So if you can get to this sort of point, then you've got like the last round. And if you've got the last round of battles and you've been able to survive this far just using the potions, then you can go back to using the decoctions again for this bit. So again, we've got Ciri here, so we don't have to use the decoctions with her because she's really powerful at this point, which is really useful. So you can just use the right bumper if Trish is available and call in fire like that. Get a good chunk of damage on them, and then just wear them down with her fast attacks. So On deathmatch, she still takes a bunch of damage, so you have to be careful with that, especially if they're all bunched up. But you can just dodge about until she gets her health back, and then kill them after that, and then call in those fireballs to do extra damage when possible. You can normally avoid their strikes because they're pretty slow, and like I say, you get your health back afterwards. So yeah, save Eskel there, and then make your way down here. And again, you get all your health back here. So summon this fire down, do a ton of damage again, kill the hound pretty easily, and then just be a bit patient with the others, and you'll be able to take them out. Even with the complete extreme lack of patience there, we're still okay. So, got this guy. So, kill this guy. And just wait till they swing and then dodge away, and you should be absolutely fine. That's the gate opened. Now, I think we have like one last round of fighting with Geralt, I believe. Although that might have been everything, but let's have a look. So, Ciri's out, got all that stuff. Dimeritium bombs there. Ah, that's where you get the extra Dimeritium bombs. So, here the Dimeritium bombs are really useful. We're actually going to just get the superior ones there as well. See if we can get the meditating to work. Yeah, so meditation's not available. So, this is why I tried to save the decoctions for now. I believe this is the last little round of fighting. Oh damn, I should have used white honey first, so never mind. I'll wait till the toxicity from the potions and everything wears off. Should easily be able to cope without the echidna decoction anyway, so grab these plates and things like that, because again they're very useful. Get some good stuff there. And then we'll carry on again. But now I have the Ancient Lesson decoction, so what I can do is when my stamina regeneration goes up, I can use that to raise my stamina regen for the rest of the fight. And when you're fighting multiple enemies like this, it's really useful, because the more you use it, the higher the stamina regeneration gets. So it just gets stronger and stronger as these fights against groups go, which is, you know, really useful. Alright, so normally I would have the echidna decoction at the same time, so this would be, you know, boosting my health with each use of the Ancient Lesson decoction as well, but I just need to wait for the decoction toxicity to wear off a bit until I can use that again. So, taking damage from the toxicity at the minute, but can deal with it no problem. And if you really needed, then obviously you have the food as well that you could use. Oof, took a big hit there. That guy was trying to hit Eskel and hit me instead, which is annoying. Save Zoltan. Leave my friend alone. Anyway. So yeah, so taking a fair amount of damage there. You can use the Dimeritium bombs to close the portals, which is very useful. So I recommend you do that. Okay, so what I need to do right now is I'm actually losing quite a lot of health there. So what I'm going to do instead is just going to forgo the Ancient Lesson decoction. Should have really used the white honey first instead, but I'll just go back to using a combination of the potions and everything else there instead. So get my elemental oil back up. I'll use the echidna decoction so I can, you know... Why has that white honey not cleared my decoction toxicity? Because I used the wrong potion, that's why. So, use the echidna decoction, just keep my health up a little bit easier. And we should be fine. Get the elemental oil back on, and then I can use some other bombs again. Use those two puffball up and get golden aureole going, so that I can have a bit of extra there as well. Okay, so need to be making as quick work of these as I can. And you can see there I've got the echidna decoction back, so that's just going to let me sort out these portals. Now I can use the normal Dimeritium bomb and get these portals closed. Okay, so that's the portals closed, that's good. I believe you can close them with Erden as well, which is very useful. And then I just need to make my way over this way and close these other portals. So No dimeritium bombs left, so that's why I'll need to be using Erden on these things. So just need to use the superior Tornial. Awesome little scene there where Hjalmar jumps into the portals, so just need to get the portals closed using Erden. Got superior Tornial to help me do that. And then I can use superior Thunderbolt and the superior Blizzard to kill all these guys afterwards. So get coming up. Right, just need to kill one of these and then I'll get the slowdown, and that'll make everything else a ton easier. So this is why superior Blizzard's so powerful. Like, the actual slowdown from the potion is, even though it doesn't last very long, it can let you take out a ton of enemies really, really quickly. And they also have a lot harder time hitting you. And whilst you have 3 adrenaline points, you can also use signs infinitely whilst that's the case. So you can see here that I'm just able to keep Gwent up and use that. So incidentally, if you ever use the superior, if you ever use the skill delayed recovery, it's very high maintenance, but one of the incredibly powerful things about it is it lets you keep up the superior Blizzard, and it lets you keep up the superior Blizzard and the what's it called? What's the word? Lets you keep up superior Blizzard and the superior Swallow, like, indefinitely, which is insanely powerful. Like, you can have every superior potion or anything like that active all at once. Are you gonna let me grab all this stuff? No. This is irritating because it counts as being in combat. I can't grab all that good stuff, but never mind. Okay, calm down. So so just a quick word, you've got a very, very important choices coming up with Ciri now. And so you have to, you know, there are certain key things that you have to do. And certain key choices you have to make. So, got a bunch more experience there again. See what level we are now. So this is going to be yeah, this is going to be difficult. So I'm just going to go through this. So yeah, you've got some key choices coming up, very important ones. So one of them is, what's the word? One of them is whether you go and visit the Emperor or not. Now, if you go and visit him, you get an extra choice, which will contribute to whether you make good or bad choices for the ending. And quite obviously, you should, you know, turn down the reward and things like that. But that also has a major effect on the Emperor, on the ending that you get. So if you want the Empress ending, then you can't. You have to visit Emir. So if you want the sort of bittersweet Ciri as the Empress ending, then you have to go and visit the Emperor. So that's something important to remember there. Excuse me, that was a bit grim. So we're going to skip through all this kind of stuff. Blah, 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 blah. Sorceresses. Right. Right. Okay. Right, so skip through this. Can't remember what the outcomes of these various choices are, but yeah. Anyway, so now we get to the end game where we've got a lot of different things. They'll probably be about level 27 or 28. But first I have to do Bald Mountain. Which is going to be difficult, so... Okay, so we've got to do all this stuff. Now, it's very important that you have the snowball fight here. So, lift Ciri's spirits. That's one of the good choices. Ha! Nailed. It's kind of fun, this snowball fight. And just wait until Ciri stops. And then hit her with the snowballs. Oh, I missed. Let's get some snowballs. Where is she? Oh, there she is. Ah, teleporting again. Right, so yeah, this is important that you choose that second of the two things there because you want to get the good endings. Well, I imagine you want to get the good endings. Ah! Oh, got her. So yeah, snowball fight, again, one of the good choices. Need to grab some snowballs again. Snowballs, where are they? Okay. Uh-oh. Wow, that's a terrible shot, Ciri. That was like one of my shots. I am not a snowball master, I'm afraid to say. Where is she? Oh, there she is. I find it really weird to hit her when she's there. Like, for some reason. I mean, she was facing the wrong way there, so yeah, good job, Ciri. Where's she gone? Ciri really sucks at this snowball fight. For the lady of time and space, you know? Can never hit her while she's here. Seriously. She should just stay there all the time. I can't actually hit her when she does that. I can normally hit her here, so we should be alright. Hey, okay. So, got all the snowball stuff. That's one of the good choices. Make sure you do that. Now, like I say, this is really important. Ciri wakes you up. You have to decide whether you go and see the Emperor or not. So, if you want her to be a Witcher, you have to have visited Emir. Right, so we're going to skip through all this stuff. Right, so we've got all this stuff. And like I say, I'm going to leave my options open, so we'll go visit the Emperor. Might as well. Just so that, you know, if I wanted to, I could do Reason of State, and then if not, then I can have the okay, so go and see the Emperor and all this kind of stuff, even though he's a complete douchebag. And then we'll do this bit. So this also gives you the option, you know, to speak to him and all that kind of stuff, and then turn him down, obviously, as well.
Licked their wounds and mourned their losses, save Ciri, who began to plan her revenge. She woke Geralt one night and urged him to travel with her to Velen, to the top of Bald's Mountain.
Let me have a look.
She had decided he had to die.
Yeah, he does need to die. Good reasoning. Let me have a look. Right, so got all the Nilfgaard stuff here, and then we say that don't do anything for him. You can get 5,000.
Bring your daughter here. I did just that. Ciri will hear you out. Then we leave.
That should seem to be very obviously one of the good choices. Right, so tell him sod off. Don't need the 5,000 crowns anyway. We're not even getting armor. Don't think there's anybody here who you can actually. Let me have a look. Yeah, let's have a look. Anyway, I don't think there's anybody here who can upgrade your swords, which is what I was going to say. So say bye to Morhen and all that kind of stuff. Blah, 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 blah. Alright. So at least we've given Ciri the option there anyway. That gives me the option of which ending I want to get. I will definitely not be getting the bad ending. But I do want to leave the option open. So if I wanted to do Reason of State, then I could get the ending where Ciri's a Witcher, because you can just have Dijkstra take over and win the war if that's the way you want to go. So if if Nilfgaard loses the war and you make enough good choices, then Ciri becomes a Witcher. If you don't visit the Emperor, and then it doesn't matter, you'll either get the good ending where Ciri's a Witcher or the bad ending where she dies. But if you want to get the Empress entering, you have to have a very specific set of circumstances. So Nilfgaard has to win the war, which means that Emir has to survive. So either Radovid needs to, so you need Radovid to have been killed and to side with Ves and Roach and kill Dijkstra so that Dijkstra doesn't take over the Northern Realms. That lets Nilfgaard win the war, and then that means that Emir survives, Ciri takes over as Empress if you make enough of the good choices. So, but yeah, by visiting the Emperor and turning him down, that's one of the good choices. So there are either 4 or 5 good choices because that one is optional. So that's one good choice. And the snowball fight was one good choice, so I only have to make one more good choice and I'll get my pick of the good endings. So either the Witcher one or the Empress one, depending on if I do Reason of State and the outcome of that quest. So yeah. Now we've got to do Bald Mountain, so we'll take out these bits, take out this first. And then I think that'll be a good point to probably leave it at. So we've got this beautiful scene here. They look kind of similar with that get-up that I've got there. White shirt and those kind of pants. Because normally Geralt will have his full armour set, whereas obviously Ciri doesn't. But yeah, very interesting. We head towards Bald Mountain. Take these guys out. There's a couple of fights to get into here. A bunch of dialogue and stuff, which obviously I will be skipping as well. If you come here before this place, then there'll be a lot of level 26 foglets. So you do have to be, careful with that. Right, so I can't meditate, but we're already at evening time. That should mean that we're alright for the decoctions, so few relics to take out first before we do any of that, so let's have a look. Now actually, looking at the time of this, it's about an hour and a half, so I might have to cut this short before Imlerith, but that'll be, pretty good place to leave it, so. Caranthe is much more difficult than Imlerith. Imlerith's interesting, but it's not particularly difficult. You watch him stove my head in with that mace now, but that'll be for the next episode, I think. So, just got to walk here. Can't run or dodge or anything like that, unfortunately, so there's no real way of speeding it up, but we'll see. He's an outsider. Oh, yeah. Anyway, go through all this stuff. Skip through all this. Yeah. Okay. Now, what level are we? We are only level 26, so staying on our goal of being a bit lower, that's absolutely fine. Normally, I'm a couple of levels higher here, so that's not a problem, but that's actually good, so I can still use my woven swords, that's all absolutely fine. Skip through all this stuff. Did I smoke Sarah out of the house? I can't remember.
Both godlings run into them before.
This is why
manifestation of inner fears. Hauntings are said to be longing and loneliness grown to vast proportions. There's no truth to that. It is true, however, that monsters can be as lonely as humans, and that to conquer one's
oh yeah, because we
one must first conquer one's fears. Some manage to do
yeah, so we kicked Sarah out of the house because I wanted the godlings to end up together in this playthrough, which is always quite fun. So it's actually strange because if you make the kind choice of leaving Sarah in her house, she doesn't end up with Johnny. Don't hurt him.
wasn't her home, and besides,
Yeah, so it's interesting. You make the kind of choice and they end up together, so that's quite nice. Anyway, so we're going to go through all this stuff.
thanks.
And then we got to go. So this will be about an hour and a half, so it's a good place to leave it, I think. And that lets me prepare for Imlerith and do all that kind of stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'll just get to this bit that we need to be here. And then that's where I'll leave it. So I'll pick it up next time where we get the key, take out a couple of enemies, and then we'll have to be facing Imlerith at the start of the next episode. So if you've been watching along on YouTube and you have made it this far into the episode, thank you so much for watching. Do please like, comment and subscribe to help out my channel, and I really appreciate it. And hopefully because, you know, you enjoy the content as well. And if you want to watch any of this on Twitch, it's Demon Phoenix 237. So thank you all very much for watching, and all have a good day on the path.